I have been doing this for 20 years, and one of the reasons I really liked Bob's keynote address was that it was like going to the Smithsonian and seeing the Apple II. It was kind of like going back in time and reliving history. The second piece of housekeeping business is the last couple of years I've been invited by V&R, a German publishing company, to come to Germany and give an all-day copywriting seminar. Many top copywriters have done this. And so I gave an 8-hour presentation on the principles of copywriting. And so I had the bright idea of this is the office in Germany. I had the bright idea of condensing 8 hours down into a single hour for you, so the best of the best. And that's the good news. And the bad news is that there are two of the Germans are here in the audience, Helmut and Jan. And for Jan especially, it's going to be a repeat of what I told them for over 8 hours. The last thing is, the second to the last thing, I wanted to mention that I have been blown away by AWAI. And I'm not just saying that. I just never realized that these resources were available. And the programs that I've seen and the level of expertise that I've seen displayed are just astonishing to me. And I wish that they were around when I started. It would have saved me a lot of time and aggravation over the years. And I just thought you should know that. Finally, the fourth kind of preliminary thing I'd like to say is I was lying in bed at night trying to figure out how I could summarize my talk into one simple phrase so you'd understand what I'm trying to get at, because it's kind of a rambling presentation. And it's that in our media-saturated world today, where everything's 24/7, marketing and copy and salesmanship is less of an event, a one-time thing, than it is a process. So I was really kind of glad to hear Mike Palmer talk about this, because a lot of what he was saying is I completely agree with. It sounds airy-fairy, but it's actually true, because in the old days, old-timers like Bob Bly, I'm much younger than he is, they would be hired just to write a sales letter, and they would turn it in, and that would be that. Nowadays, copywriters, and you can ask Wayne, Wayne's one of my clients, we're increasingly involved in the entire process. In other words, we are in on the conversations on what product should we develop, and what the pre-sale will be, and how we generate the leads. So we're really thinking things through on a much more macro level than used to be the case. So there's been a shift in the psychology of how copywriters go about writing their copy. And I learned a lot of this from Frank Kern. And I thought Mike was kind of talking about the psychology of the copywriters themselves towards their own career, their own business. I want to talk about tonight the psychology of selling generally to a media-saturated public. And there's been a shift. The principles are still the same, and a lot of the stuff is really still the same. But there's kind of a little difference in the way you approach selling now that impacts how you do copy. So I've been involved, as I said, in the strategy sessions and suggest script ideas and all sorts of things like that. So I'm going to get right to it. My topic is creating winning sales messages in an overly distracted world, winning customers in 2015. So here's my agenda. I'm going to tell you a little bit briefly about how I became a copywriter, the principles of selling on and offline today, and then a few practical details about creating sales messages, not just in the financial niche. I do a little bit of health too and other areas. So that's how I'd like to proceed. How I got started. I started out in my 20s working in the magazine business. I freelanced for a lot of different magazines, technical magazines, science magazines, cultural magazines. I wrote articles like this on wind farms in California and Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii and I freelanced. It was kind of a dream job. And then I became the Hawaii bureau chief for the Hollywood Reporter, and where I covered film and TV production in the islands. So this is in the 1980s. So I got to cover Magnum PI and I'll meet some Hollywood celebrities and stuff. And I would write about the business side of film in Hawaii. And then, I told this story at the financial one. That's Captain Kirk on the ground in the Ko'olau Mountains. T.J. Hooker, actually. And then I eventually became the managing editor of Hawaii Magazine. And that was a lot of fun, but in 1990 I got married, and I needed to make more money. And in the 90s, I was recruited by a copywriting agent by the name of John Finn. He was the world's only copywriting agent that I know of. I think he still is, more or less. And he introduced me to a copywriter named Clayton Makepeace. And there's a big confab that we had in Lake Tahoe, and there's Clayton and Wendy and myself, and Paris Lampropoulos, Kent Comey, and Brad Peterson. And we became Clayton's copy cubs. So suddenly, overnight, I went from making $1,500 for a typical magazine article to $150,000 in royalties for promotions like Y2K, like this. We did a whole bunch of, we got 40 or 50,000 subscribers for when Y2K was coming. Everybody thought the world was going to come to an end. And these were magalogs that we did with Clayton over the years. It was all direct mail. You know, the typical deal was you got a $25,000 deposit against a nickel in the mail. So you got a nickel for every piece they mailed. So after a while, I started doing my own magalogs, things like this. My current business, I spend about half my time on financial copywriting. Why? Because as the famous bank robber John Dillinger said when they asked him why he robbed banks, that's where the money is. This is packages I've done this year. This is a piece I did for Fidelity. This is one's going right now for Weiss. Did Brian Perry for Eagle. It's a sales letter. I did one for Angel Publishing that's going right now. So I keep busy. I'm pretty much a working financial copywriter. I have 3 sources of income: financial copywriting, consulting, and other copywriting. And by that, I mean health. I do health packages sometimes. I'm not as good a health writer, but I do get assignments, and I do like it. It's a nice change of pace. And sometimes some of the topics are really, really interesting. So I do, these are Slim Jim packages, how to lose weight and keep it off after 50. I'm 57, so this appealed to me. Okay, this is the heart of what I want to talk about. The principles of selling in a distracted world. This is our problem. The entire universe is now a gigantic advertising machine. And I mean that literally. There is corporate branding everywhere. There are now 1 billion websites online, and most of them are trying to sell you something, or pre-selling you something, meaning getting you in the mindset to buy something. This is the website that you get this 968 million websites in 2014. They grew by 33% in 1 year, the number of websites. So the web is explosive. So Nick Usborne is correct. It is a gigantic, that's both a good and a bad thing. He accentuated the positive, which is good. But that means everyone is selling you something constantly. And you probably all know this. Some people say we get 5,000 sales messages each and every day. Some people dispute that and say it's more like 500, but still, it's an overwhelming number. So that means everywhere you go, you're bombarded with sales messages. This is a men's bathroom. This is a bench selling Kit Kat. This is for McDonald's. It's so omnipresent we don't even notice it. This is for whiteout. This is a ship where they've made the ship into an ad. This is a Duracell ad at the bottom of an escalator. This is what I love this. This is a baggage claim. And it's an ad for a casino. This is Henkel knives. Oh, this is left over from Germany. Sorry, pita. So we can't escape the sales messages. This is Misty May's bottom, Nautica. This is at a gas station. They have ads at the gas station when you're pumping gas. This is an ATM machine. This is in French, but it's an ATM machine, and it's an ad when you go to your ATM machine. We even carry the ads around in our pockets. This is an ad on an iPhone. Tattoo them on our babies. No, I'm just kidding. That's what. So, how do we reach customers who are overwhelmed by sales messages? If they're tired of being sold things, what do they really want? The secret magic word to copywriting is help. Modern life is gone absolutely berserk. Everybody feels like it's out of control. We need help with everything. We need help with saving and investing and our taxes. We need help with our jobs. We need help with our kids. We need help with our health and our medical care, especially in the US. We even need help with our marriages, our relationships, and our sex lives. Yet all this human misery is actually great news. Because it means there are opportunities everywhere. The only trick is this: you have to help first and collect the money later. And my brother Kelly taught me this lesson. He's a banker now, lives in Wisconsin, has 4 beautiful daughters. When we were growing up, he'd point to a pile of trash in somebody's yard and he'd say, "What do you think that is?" And I would say, "I don't know, it's a pile of garbage." And he would say, "No, it's a bag of money." And then my entrepreneurial little brother would go knock on the door and say, "Hey, mister, if I haul away that crap in your front yard, will you give me $30? The guy always would say yes. Hell yes. Kelly always had money. That's why he's a banker. So I've remembered this lesson my entire life. Solve people's problems for them, and you can make money. So what does this have to do with copywriting? Only everything. People do not want to be sold anything. Okay, that's a salesman. They run in terror from anything that looks like a sales message. But they will run to anything that looks like help. A zombie killer. That means in our sales messages, we have to stop being what our customers don't want, which is a zombie salesman, that's a zombie salesman, and become what they really do want, which is a problem solver. This is a psychological shift. It's really basic copywriting, but it's a psychological shift. Okay, prospecting versus selling. A prospect is someone who has a specific problem, but they don't know anything about you or your solutions. So, to turn a prospect into a potential buyer, you must first offer what? Help. Concrete, practical help. And we usually do this in the form of credible, useful, detailed information about their problems. The first thing you have to do as a copywriter, and I'm doing this, the older I get, the more I do this, is how can my clients genuinely help their prospects? What can we do for them that would actually help them? If you don't have any practical help, you got to get some fast. Okay, an example. Car dealer might offer a free copy of a Consumer Reports article on the safest cars in 2015. And a doctor might offer a free artery scan. There's lots of things they can do. Computer magazines offer free downloads of antivirus software. There's an example. Investment newsletters in my niche might offer a free report on the 10 best biotech stocks for 2015. So you constantly have to test offers of help to get prospects. And we call these offers of help lead magnets. There's a lead magnet. This is Orion Dicewire. I'm going to talk about him later. With 838 billion marketing emails sent in a year, you have to have a really good reason for a customer to give you their email address and opt into your service. It has to be real help. So this requires a lot of soul searching on the part of both the copywriter and the clients. What do my prospects actually need? Here's an example, and I love these guys. I don't know how to pronounce them, but I love them. Maquota. It is a special website that's dedicated to helping information publishers and develop their businesses. So you can download, they have all these great handbooks and videos and trainings, and they offer them completely free. You click on a link to how to build a subscription website, and you get taken to a download for the 9 most profitable subscription website business models. And you click on the link, and you get the report. And they just have built this massive list by offering these great, genuinely helpful handbooks. So a lead magnet like this does two things. It provides real, useful, little-known information, but more importantly, it instantly positions you or your client or your company as an expert, as an authority in the field, someone who knows what they're talking about, and therefore someone the prospects might be able to trust. So you're no longer a zombie, a sales zombie, you're a zombie slayer. And my favorite example of this is Ryan Dias of digital marketing. Some people here, I think even some of the AW folks used to work for Ryan. His stuff is really worth studying, and I'm going to show you why. Ryan offers these incredible lead magnets. He has these like tools or these like mind maps and digital downloads, and he offers you the tool for free. Like when he had a Kindle publishing course where he offered this little tool that you could tell by the Amazon sales rating how many books per day they were actually selling. So that's the kind of useful little tool that you could download for free. And then he usually has a multi-video training that accompanies that, and it shows you how to use the tool and why the tool is important and why it can ultimately make you money. And then he follows that up by a upsell for a course for $49, $97, sometimes even $2,000. So, but his secret is that his lead magnets are so full of useful information. If you're interested in email marketing or internet marketing, you watch his videos and you're blown away because he's done thousands of tests. He knows what he's talking about. You instantly trust him. And so here's like the process you go through with him. You see this offer of a 7-step formula for generating more sales from small lists. You download his tool for free. And then you get access to his free training videos, okay? He's going to give you free information. And I'm going to show you what one of those look like now.
Do you remember the good old days of email marketing? You'd switch on your computer, boot up your modem, and anxiously await those 3 magic words.
You've got mail.
Now think about that for a minute. There was actually a time, not all that long ago, when you were pleasantly surprised and even excited to receive an email. I mean, not today. Today your response would be more like,
ain't nobody got time for that.
Or worse, yeesh. And the reason is obvious. I mean, according to Fortune magazine, the average adult receives 147 emails a day. 147 emails a day. And managing all this email sucks up 13 hours a week, and that doesn't even count the time spent on Facebook and Twitter. So it's no wonder open rates and click-through rates are down across the board. There's just way too much noise out there. So is email marketing dead? No, of course not. In fact, after you see the simple formula I'm about to show you, you'll agree that it's working better than ever. Best of all, it has nothing to do with your writing style, so if you're not a world-class copywriter, don't worry about it. It also doesn't require you to change your email software or learn any fancy new pieces of software, so you can try it for free. So what is the simple formula, you ask? I'm about to tell you.
Okay, so he has 3 training videos, and then he has a series of video testimonials where you actually see his happy customers. They actually make testimonial videos, okay? And then he takes you through his sales process, and this is all the stuff you get, and I believe it's only $19.95. So the basic principle is that he offers so much valuable information, detailed, concrete, got to be an insider to know it information, that you trust him, that he knows what he's talking about. And that's how he's able to capture leads, and that's how he's eventually able to make prospects into buyers. So this is the hardest part of what I have to do nowadays, is to try and think up how can this financial guru or health guru help their prospects before they buy something. What can we offer them that can actually help them? People want to get right to the selling part, but every business is different, but it can take weeks or sometimes months and sometimes even years before people actually get to make a sale. They have to give help. Premature selling can be the death of online promotions. Clayton calls it premature acceleration. Now, Clayton also says that salesmanship is a seduction. It's like a seduction, okay? It requires patience and a sense of timing. But too many copywriters act like overeager 18-year-old boys trying to get a girl. Kiss me, I'm desperate. No. Come on, baby, me love you long time. These copywriters say and do everything right. They follow all of the AWAI instructions. They list the benefits of their service. They offer testimonials of previous buyers, and they insist on the scarcity of their product. And the result is like this, or that, or that. Because they've done all this before the prospect has even gotten to know the marketer, all right, or the company. So what's your name again? Now, I have two very beautiful teenage daughters who I took to Germany with me this last June. One's 13 and one's 15, Mary and Jane. And I don't really like the word seduction as a father. Seduction implies manipulation. A man trying to trick a woman into doing something that is not really in her best interest, at least a teenage girl. It also implies a temporary or short-term relationship, a single sale. There are entire books, courses, websites dedicated to short-term manipulative tactics designed to get the first and only sale, the pickup artist. Men pay thousands of dollars to learn these tactics in both marketing and in relationships. And the horrible truth is they can work. But I have a different metaphor that supplements Clayton's. It's not, he was just kidding around or using it as a metaphor. But I have a different metaphor. I prefer the word courtship. A courtship refers to a period of time in which people express interest in one another as potential partners and explore whether and how their interests and goals can or might be aligned. That's kind of a fancy mouthful. But unlike seduction, the goal of a courtship is a longer-term relationship. So a man, in the old days at least, a man would give numerous expensive gifts to a woman to prove that his interest in her is sincere and not motivated solely by a desire for a temporary romantic conquest. See, I thought Joshua's kids were going to be in here, so I had to edit all this. Women, too, would give gifts, prove their sincerity. There's giving a little back rub. So if this is true, and marketing is kind of a courtship designed to create long-term relationships, how do we go about it? Well, in my world, and in many people's world, we use autoresponder emails, and we send links to free gifts and valuable content. There's that word Bob Bly hated, content, that is whatever the niche happens to be. And we do this for a long time, a couple times a week. That's what the whole funnels that you guys all know about, the whole marketing funnel is all about. We send links to videos of PDF reports, software, news articles. That's why all these e-zines exist for financial publications and for health publications. So we give these free gifts to prove our sincerity and to show that we have the best interests of our prospects in mind. And ideally, these should be actually useful things. So for an option trading service, I might send links for a special report on how to read option tables, a video that demonstrates how you trade options online, a review of different option training courses, and once they've gotten to know us, and once they trust that we're just not constantly trying to sell them something, we can slowly begin to make various upfront offers. An entry-level product, like dinner. I'm constantly using romantic metaphors, so you'll have to forgive me. Eventually leading to a special VIP lifetime membership offer. So, successful marketing today involves identifying real problems in a given market and coming up with innovative solutions or help that people actually want. This is important. What we think people might want may not be what they actually want. That's why we test. Once we have these solutions, we give some of them away for free as lead magnets, and we then begin a courtship process to prove our sincere interest in our customers and prospects and in their problems, and to see if we can convince them that there's a possible long-term relationship that we can build, which is becoming a customer. And we give away free gifts, and as I said, I'm repeating myself. Now, it's important that the gifts that we give people are actually worth something, and that they thrill and delight our customers. Cheap gifts can backfire. This is a clueless boyfriend giving his girlfriend a razor for Christmas. This, I won't even comment on what this is. This is a clueless boyfriend giving a girl something else. Our prospects, if we do this, if we give lousy gifts, or if we're just obviously just being hustlers, our prospects will opt out of our email lists, and we'll never hear from them again. Eventually, people will trust us enough to buy from us. And so copywriting really is about building trust. And that's kind of it's not about manipulating people into buying your stuff. It's about building a relationship of trust so you can educate them that you actually have solutions to their problems that actually work and that benefit them. I was just thinking the other day that when you go to a car dealership, and you just want to check out the new cars, you just kind of want to wander around, and you start seeing, off in the distance, you can see two guys in suits start coming your way. And you just go, oh my God, they're coming, just like the sales zombies, okay? You want to get the hell away from them. You just want to be left alone in peace and look at the cars. But when you go to a doctor and you have possibly brain cancer, you don't look at the doctor that way. You're not worried about, that's because the AMA for 200 years has positioned and branded doctors as nothing but purveyors of selfless help. So we look at doctors as just being altruistic humanitarians. The salesmen, on the other hand, at the car dealership are considered predators who are trying to trick us into buying a car that's too expensive for us and that we don't really need. Okay, so if you can develop that level of trust, you can build a huge business online. Here's an example. Mike Geary of Six Pack Abs. There's Mike Geary. He sells an information product, The Truth About Six Pack Abs, which has sold more than 500,000 copies since 2005. There it is, Truth About Six Pack Abs. He also publishes a health newsletter, 680,000 subscribers. His first 2 years, he only made 50 grand, but he eventually grossed $1 million a month. It's not enough to live on, but it's a start. And his website is not that fancy. If you go on his website, it's just a collection of links to articles and some videos, just like that. But he has a great offer. $4.95 to try the product. If you decide to keep it, pay an extra $35. So it's $39.95. But you get it for $4.95. There is his offer right there. Today's payment, $4.95. So there you go. That's my summary of the principles of selling online today. Now, the practical details. Again, this is a salesman. We don't want to be that guy. So we got to take a prospect, from a prospect to a buyer. So in every courtship, every marketing relationship, there's a point when a decision must be made. And your job as a copywriter and a marketer, and as Mike Palmer said, those are increasingly the same job, is to force a decision. You offer a new level of commitment. In a marketing context, this means you have to reach out to show them that you need them to make a commitment as well to fix their problem, okay? A doctor, let's say you have a doctor or a chiropractor, or let's say an eye doctor, that's my example. You know, people sign up because they have eye problems, and so the doctor sends out many free gifts to express his help and his sincerity. Article after article about glaucoma and cataracts and other eye diseases. But eventually, if the doctor's really going to help the patient, he's going to need to see them, and they're going to have to make an appointment, okay? So if he's a smart marketer, he forces this decision on his prospects that I want to help you But the only way I can help you is by you making a commitment to help yourself. So we always have to keep the focus on the problem that our free gifts are not really addressing, okay? Something is still not, otherwise they wouldn't be opening our emails. Something is still not fixed. So we always have to ask, what is that? What is the problem that still remains unresolved? And we have to identify this because our pitch is going to be, let's fix this problem once and for all. You know, in an AWAI context, that would be, let's get some assignments. Let's get you working once and for all. Let's deal with this. You know, we've been working on this. We've been sending you emails and things like that. The time has come to let's put this, we've been struggling with this problem. Let's put it behind us once and for all, okay? Whether it's being overweight or not having enough money or stuck in a lousy job. This is my favorite, having disrespectful children. I have 5 kids, so I can relate to this. So, not being able to get your computer working. So let's take care of this once and for all. That's our pitch. And here's an example. The great internet copywriter Chris Haddad, Mr. Moneyfingers. He wrote a great opening for a video for a course for women who want to finally understand men. And it was one of the biggest selling promos, I think, last year or the year before. He says, Michael Fiore, and he starts out by expressing the problem that some women, I wouldn't say every woman, suspects but has never heard anyone say out loud. And it's a great opening line. You've been lied to by every man you've ever met, every man you've ever dated, every man you've ever fallen in love with or trusted with your heart. This is a punch in the gut opening. So here's how the video starts.
You've been lied to by every man you've ever met, every man you've ever dated, every man you've ever fallen in love with or trusted with your heart. No matter how old you are, no matter how lucky or unlucky you've been in love, men you loved or still love, men you adored, men you trusted with everything, have looked you in your eyes, smiled at you, and lied to you about everything. About what he wants, about how he feels about you, about what he's thinking, what he desires. And if you're like most women, it's driven you crazy. It's kept you up at night. It's pushed you to tears as you wonder, why? Why can't he just tell you the truth? Why can't he just love you? Why can't he just be that man you've wanted for so long, that lover, that friend who you've dreamed of, who you finally deserve? Now, I shouldn't do this. But I'm going to show you the truth no man would ever tell you. The real reason you've failed with men again and again and are going to keep failing unless you listen to what I have to say right now. My name is Michael Fiore. I've been on The Rachel Ray Show, Mancow Radio, NBC TV, Fox TV, more blogs than I can count, more radio shows than are sane. I'm a nationally known relationship expert who's helped tens of thousands of men and women connect, communicate, seduce, and heal. But more than that, I'm a man. I'm a guy. And if you really want to understand men, the dirty truth, what really goes on in our minds, what we lust after, what we dream about, why we lie to women, even when we love them, especially when we love them.
You guys laugh, but this was one of the top selling ClickBank products last year. I think they were grossing $500,000 a month. So, you know, Chris wants to, he can go work for a publisher for whatever, or he could do his video and make $500,000 a month. You know, the difference between products, promises, and offers. This is a very important point, and we're running out of time, so I'm going to do it fast. This is something most beginning copywriters don't understand. They assume that if a financial newsletter is the product, then the offer is always the same. Subscribe to my financial newsletter. And that's just not the case. 9. This is left over from Germany. A newsletter and more paper is the last thing. The last thing prospects want. Okay? They don't want another financial newsletter. They want help. The newsletter is just the means to the end, okay? So I'm trying to think of a clear, it's the means by which we fulfill our promise. So an offer is a distinct proposal to solve a specific problem through a unique combination of products and services, okay? So a single product, let's say a financial newsletter or a health newsletter, can have hundreds of different offers and promises that are solving different aspects of a problem, okay? So a natural health newsletter can offer to solve all sorts of ailments. A stock picking newsletter can focus on different kinds of stocks or different investment options. Retirement newsletter can focus on anything, tax planning, money management, and so on. So they test dozens of offers and promises until they find one that resonate with the prospects, okay? And that's why there's a difference. So a single product can have lots of offers. So we spend a lot of time brainstorming offers, okay? So once again, I return to the romantic metaphor. Let's say you want to ask a woman out. You have an interest in this woman, and so you ask her if she'd like to go skiing. But she doesn't ski. Oh, gee, that didn't work. So then you say, would you like to go to the opera with me? And she says, no, I hate opera. So one day, in an act of desperation, you say, oh, okay, would you like to go rowing or maybe play tennis? And she jumps up and down and says, oh, I used to play tennis in high school. I love tennis. There you go. Bingo. So the point is, the offers that you thought would work failed, and this happens all the time in marketing, and the offer you just threw out there because you were desperate and had no other ideas, that's the one that worked. That's the one that clicked. And marketing's like that. So we're constantly testing offers and different promises to our prospects. And part of that is trying to figure out what people actually really, really want versus what we think they should want. You know, and in financial products, this is really our world, because what we would think, there's this product that everybody would love, and they're just totally not interested. And something else that you think wouldn't work actually does work. And I was just on a conference call yesterday with a new client, and they said, oh, just make up a new product. We have all these writers on staff, and you know, the top 3 controls the products didn't even exist a year ago. So if you want to invent a new back-end product, just go ahead. So I'm going to skip through this part about an irresistible offer because we're running out of time. An irresistible offer is as short, it's something absolutely you got to have, like pizza in 30 minutes or it's free. Tom Monahan became a billionaire with that promise. Here's one: double your dating. That's a promise. Learn secrets most men will never know. Eben Pagan, he's an internet marketer, built an empire with that promise. Learn how to meet and attract beautiful women even if you aren't tall, rich, or handsome. Free stuff for people over 50, that's another offer. So to clarify, you have the promise, double your dating, but you can have hundreds of different offers to fulfill on that promise. So you can tell your prospects that they could double their dating by subscribing to your newsletter, double your dating news, or you can say maybe a brand new special report that's come out that you could double your dating that way, or you can double your dating by getting this new video training series. It's the same promise, double your dating, but the offer is different. It's a different combination. Some people will respond to some of them, and they will not respond to others, okay? So they say yeah to some and no to others. So that's why we test. Well, this is important. As copywriters, we don't usually get to test the products because the products exist. But as I've said, sometimes that's not true. And in my case, there's been times when I've been given the leeway just to create the product outright. That's why we are involved in the process a lot more than in the past. We brainstorm, like, well, what kind of product could we create? What kind of option trading product could we create that would actually help our prospects and that they would trust? So by varying our promises and our offers, we have a lot of things to test. Okay, the problem of credibility. This goes back to the media saturation issue that I talked about at the beginning. Every day, I get an email from Natasha in Russia. And she tells me how much she longs to be with me. There's Natasha. Now I know I'm a handsome man, but I have no idea why Natasha finds me so attractive. She constantly sending me these obscene, sexy pictures of herself. But when I told my wife about Natasha, she wasn't jealous because she was getting the same message. There she is. Perhaps Natasha's bisexual. God, I'm glad Joshua's kids aren't here. My point is, I don't believe Natasha really wants me. I don't think she's sincere. And with 108 billion emails sent every day, we have a credibility problem on the internet, okay? People are skeptical and cynical. So we can no longer take anything for granted, and so as copywriters, our job is we have to prove everything. We have to prove every assertion. And I also learned this from Clayton. Clayton stresses this a lot. Everybody lies, says Dr. House. So we can no longer say, with unemployment now nearing just 5% in the US, no, that's not good enough. We have to say, with unemployment now nearing 5.4% in the US, according to the June 2015 report from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. And even that isn't good enough. I could have just made that up. So I would have a screenshot of the report and show it. That's how skeptical people are. Okay? So it's been good news for me because I started off in journalism. I like facts. I like proof. In the old days, emotional copy, especially for the front end, does better. I didn't bother with all that facts and proofs. But now, my way of writing is actually doing better because I prove every claim. 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes. Presenting your solution to the problem. Now, I'm going to skip this. Oh, this is partially true. Part of the credibility thing is being able to show that you can do what you're claiming to do, and that's why we see a lot of Mike Geary's abs. That's why Frank Kern, the marketer, is always subtly bragging about his wealth. He started his latest video, I just cracked me up, from his wife's shoe closet, which was bigger than my living room. This guy's seriously wealthy, but you want business advice from a wealthy man, right? That's why we get to the profits really quickly in our financial programs. Acknowledging skepticism and countering objections. Part of what we do is we're always acknowledging the skepticism of our audience. There's a skeptical prospect. We often say in promotions, now I know you may be thinking X, Y, and Z, or you may have heard a claim like this and thought it was nonsense. The reason we do that is we want the prospects on our side, not fighting against us. So we acknowledge their objections and about the believability of our claims. And we always have to put ourselves in their shoes. That's why vitamin sellers frequently produce direct mail packages with the headline, "The Great Vitamin Hoax." Why? Because they're now positioning themselves as consumer advocates. They're going to expose the lies of all the other vitamin companies, not them. Proof, different types of proof. I'm going to skip this because we're running out of time. One picture I should show you. We used to use screen capture videos showing for financial statements of how much people were actually making online. And so we could prove that like a stock guru made $382,000 in 4 months. We go online, we show their brokerage statements, and we could prove they actually did it. And you think that would be great, but the lawyers will say, no, it's not only one example, it's not typical, and therefore deceptive. And this is why copywriters hate lawyers. Basically, the bottom line with guarantees is this. Most copywriters treat it as a throwaway, boilerplate kind of thing. Jay Abraham taught me that it should be the center of your pitch. Basically, a guarantee is nothing less than the central promise of your whole marketing message. So Jay believes, and he taught me to denominate, to be as specific, to spell it out in detail, to make it take 2 pages. You go on and on. This is going to do this, this, and that for you, okay? The other thing that he really emphasized, I'm just getting to the highlights, is translating abstractions like good health or more money into the realities they mean for your prospects, okay? Good health really means being able to play with your grandkids. Okay? That's what it really means to the people who want good health. High yields on dividend stocks really means no longer having to worry about money so much. Okay? So you have to think in those terms. You want to personalize it. Set a time limit. Drop all lawyer talk. That goes without saying. Legalese is death. It sounds like you're trying to be sneaky. Make it fun. It's hard to do, but Frank Kern's a success because he makes it fun. Okay? Try and make your copy fun. Removing obstacles to purchase. This is just routine stuff. You want to let people pay with all credit cards. You want to let them have a telephone number in case they have questions. You want to use installment plans. Obamacare, just 3 easy payments of $3 trillion. Risk-free trials, auto bill upsells after 30, 60 days, double your dating, $4.95. Test all these different kind of offers. Finally, and most importantly, you have to ask for the sale. And marketing is not for the shy. Thank you, everyone.